Afternoon, Dawn.
Hello.
How are you?
Oh, good, thank you.
So, good afternoon, BNI members in the Midlands region. This afternoon, time for another bite size. So, we got two good visitor inviters with us today. I suppose thought it'd be useful today to cover the kind of the how and the why of why do we want to bring BNI bring visitors to our BNI meetings, and then how can we do it would kind of be useful. I mean, from your side, seeing as you're with us, Dawn, yeah, I mean, what would you say the number one reasons you would say to bring new visitors to BNI meetings?
Well, when I look back on my BNI journey, I literally got tens of thousands of pounds from visitors. So even if they don't apply to join, they spend money. So absolutely, if you want to grow your business, grow the visitor numbers.
Excellent. So yeah, I always think, yeah, there's several areas for us to start thinking about, and it is that the more new connections just by having extra people in the room. Seen it several times even in recent weeks. Someone comes along, they make a connection, that they do business, whether that's with a member or vice versa. But also it's that atmosphere. I find, if you go to a meeting and it's just the same people who are there every week, it becomes a bit too familiar. Do you see that as well?
Yes, absolutely. I always think members raise their game a little more when there's new people in the room that have never heard their 60 seconds.
And yeah, I think also, it's what can we do? People say, what can I do to help? And I was sitting with someone only last week. I said, the number one thing you could do for me in my own business was bring more people to the meeting. So what can you do to help your power team? Can you bring in a good contact for them? Yes, we can set up referrals, we can set up introductions, but what's better than putting them in front of not just one member, but several other in the room?
Yep.
So, I mean, briefly, the rules of the game: eligible, representing a seat not currently taken by a member. Once every 6 months, you either have a sub or a visitor. Can't be both. And other BNI members are not visitors. So, for me, I always think of three groups of people that we can invite from, and the first main group is people that we already know. Now, the great advantage of the people that we already know is they're probably in our phone book. We're connected with them on social media. Maybe we went to school with them. We've worked with them. Maybe they're part of our family. Who knows? And the beauty of those is that we can just have a conversation with them. And I always, again, sitting with a few new members over the last few weeks, it's actually easier, I think, to invite this group of people when you first join BNI, because it's great to say, I've just, you've literally just paid the best part of £1,000 probably to join BNI. So why wouldn't you say to someone, I've just joined this great networking group. I think it could be useful for you. Are you free Thursday, Friday? Can I get you along? And they're more likely to say yes because you've asked them. And they're more likely to turn up because they've said they will to you and you know them. And they're more likely to join because they already know you. And if you know all these people and you trust them, then they're more likely to join. So I always think that first bucket of people is the best one to go to. Is that what you find as well, Dawn?
Yeah, always start with the people that you know, because you would recommend them, you'd like to think. So yeah, absolutely start with the people you know well.
Excellent. And in terms of those in the second bucket, I kind of describe those as people that we vaguely know. Now, those could be people that we haven't seen in years. Maybe we're only connected with them on a social media platform, and that's probably a larger bucket of people to then start going after. And they're kind of still perhaps willing to have that conversation with us because we vaguely know them. Maybe we spend some money with them. but we've never had a detailed conversation. So they're a good way. Following the money, I always find, is a great way of finding people that you can at least start having that conversation with. Would you like more business? Can I introduce you to a group of people? So then you end up with this final bucket of people that you don't know. And what I always find is that there's more of those people, bluntly. So it's a larger bucket to go after. But they're also the harder ones, because it's essentially a cold contact at that point. They don't know you, you don't necessarily know them. So I think sometimes when people are inviting to BNI, there's a temptation to go straight for that third bucket of, I'm going to reach out to people, like we do a lot with LinkedIn, Facebooks, Nextdoors, all those kind of things. But actually it's recognizing that sometimes going for the people that we already know or vaguely know is going to be a lot easier. Do you find that?
I do. Yeah. I think the right people are out there. We just need to ask the question.
Absolutely. Glad you said that, Dawn, because that's literally sat with someone. They said, how are you so good at visitor inviting? I said, I just ask people. It's and it is that powerful. But what do we ask people? And so I kind of wanted to run through my personal. Everyone has a slightly different process, and you adapt it for you. But I thought it'd be useful for this afternoon's bite size to kind of run through very briefly a 5-stage process I use. Now, I use the same process whatever bucket they're in, to be honest, because there's a certain psychology to getting people to say yes, and qualifying people at different stages. So it kind of starts with the classic, are you able to take on new business? Now, that's a great question, because most people should hopefully say yes to it. If they say no, it could be a referral for a business coach if you know any good ones. But it also means that if they say no, I'm full for the next 6 months, then probably coming to join a networking group isn't the right thing for them right now as well. So it's a great way of getting that positive response when you initially. So it could be you're talking to your friend down the pub, somebody at the school gate, all those sort of scenarios. It still works to say, oh, you're a painter decorator. Are you able to take on new business at the moment? Because if they come along to BNI and hopefully a certain proportion join BNI, they're going to get more business. So we want people that can take it on. Then my second stage is, explaining what it's a bit about. So at this stage, I would say it's a BNI group. That kind of alleviates those potential objections that come up. And I'm part of this BNI group. We're looking for whatever their profession is. Are they free on my meeting day? Now, what we've done there is we've introduced the concept of BNI, we've introduced the concept of networking, made it personal to them, their profession, but we're also asking another qualifying question, are they free on the meeting day? Now, at that point, I've only mentioned the day. If I'm inviting for multiple groups, should we say, slightly more generically, I might give people a choice. Because if I say, are you free on Wednesday or Thursday morning? The answer doesn't come back no, because we haven't given them a yes or no question. So something to bear in mind. Yeah, we're quite good in this region about working together cross chapter. So that's a great way of generating visitors. Assuming they're saying yes to that, I'm then going in with more of the details. When is the meeting? Where is the meeting? If it's a face-to-face, if I can arrange an invitation to introduce, would you like to come along? So several things there. We're getting across the specifics. So, when we get a yes out of that there's, no coming back. And also that invitation, it is, introducing an element of exclusivity. And again, it gives you that opportunity to check for conflicts and that kind of thing. So I think, again, some people too early on in the process try to qualify people out, decide whether there's going to be conflicts, etc. But actually just go through the early stages and be strategic in the whole process. Try and prospect for your own business. It's easier to offer someone a networking opportunity than to sell your own business. But if they back out at any stage in this process, you can then start to have a conversation. Oh, well, sorry, you can't make the networking meeting. It'd be great to have a conversation over a coffee about what I do, what you do. How can we help each other? So, yep, step 4, register, confirm. And then I love this one. Who else do we know that could benefit? You know, who else is looking to grow their business locally? So by having that question in there, it starts them thinking about, oh, well, classic one had the other week. Source was essentially just a Facebook thread where somebody was asking for a family lawyer. Could someone recommend? Several people get tagged. So if I see something like that, I'll message people going, oh, saw you recommended as a good family lawyer. Are you able to take on more business? Step 1 question, simple as that. So get to step 4, and she's really interested in coming along. But then she says, I'm a barrister. I don't really take direct referrals, but could I bring my solicitor with me? I'm like, well, yeah. So we get 2 visitors to the BNI meeting. Turns out the solicitor's a really good connection for not just people in the room, but several people in the region. So never underestimate your ability to get multiple visitors from one visitor. You've already done the hard work of finding one person. But yeah, good example there. Barristers work well with solicitors. Solicitors work well with other solicitors. But if it was a trade-based business, could come across there. And then the classic, the day before message. For me, what you don't want to do is say, are you still coming? Because that's really easy to say, nah, something's come up, etc. So you want to go in with a positive, saying everyone's excited to see you in the morning. Is it just you, or you bring someone else with you? You know, ask that question again. You know, I'm just confirming the numbers, and then that gets it's a way of confirming that they're still coming to the meeting, so you don't get them backing out, but also could be the way of generating more visitors. So that's kind of 3 buckets to look for, 5 questions to ask. I mean, Dawn, you're obviously a veteran at this. I learnt most of it from you, but what would you add to that, or what would you say you do differently?
Yeah, I would know. I think absolutely great there. All of the things that you've suggested, and it's kind of what I learned in the beginning. It's kind of feel the fear and do it anyway, because what's the worst that can happen is they can say no, and that's absolutely fine. And no in sales is good. It gets you closer to a yes. So if you get a couple of no's, not for me, what time, then you know that's fine. If it's not for them, ask them, do they know a good lawyer builder looking for more business? So yeah, I think that's really easy, that kind of 5-step process. And it's kind of repeat. Don't invite 5 people and then give up. It's about doing it. Like BNI, it's about doing things consistently. So that would be my advice, is either put it in your BNI power hour, or get together with a few people, or stay on after a meeting. Just make it a good habit. That's what I've done over the years.
Yeah, well, I always loved early on, Dawn, you've always said about, you know, those 10 minutes of doing like LinkedIn activity, and who can't find 10 minutes in their day to do it? But yeah, I mean, I would echo that as well. You know, I've had experience where sometimes I'll send 100 messages and get virtually nothing out of it. Do you know what I mean? But interestingly enough, they're in that 3rd bucket of, the colder people that, you know, somebody said, oh, I'm looking for, I don't know, will writers in Warwick or whatever it might be. Not that you probably find 100 of them, but you never know. But yeah, so sometimes it's good to kind of look for those colder ones. But yeah, you just got to be, I don't know if tough skin's the right word.
Yeah, and I think find a way that you're happy doing it. I genuinely vary it. Each week. Sometimes Yell, sometimes LinkedIn, sometimes Nextdoor, sometimes Google Maps. I've gone through my phone. So, you know, I find different ways that just inspire me to keep asking.
Absolutely. And I think that's a good point, Dawn, there. It's about inspiration is the way I see it. And I find that the same. It's like when we're specific in a BNI meeting, it like makes you go on LinkedIn and find that particular person. Or if a chapter says, I'm looking to fill this particular seat, it's like, oh, who do I know that could reach out, because if it's anybody and everybody, you often end up with nobody.
Absolutely. And I think I'm up to, I don't know, in all the years I've been doing this, it's many, I think I might be up to 90 odd sponsored in. So I will have a celebration when I reach that 100 member, because I've made a difference to all of those people's lives. So, you know, if you take from it, so I can make a difference to someone else's life, then fantastic.
Well, and it's so true, because it all starts, you know, every BNI member was a visitor to start with.
Yeah.
So
absolutely, we've been there. We've all been there as a visitor.
So yeah, and not that we necessarily need to invite to assume that people will join, but if we follow the activity, it comes through, and let them see for themselves.
Yeah, and it's great. It's great to do it as a team as well. You know, buddy up with somebody, or do it in your power circles. Find a way. If you know you don't want to do it on your own, then find other people that will just spend literally 10 invites on LinkedIn will take you less than 2 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. It's powerful. Cool. Well, I think that's our bite size for today, Dawn. That's inspiration for everyone, don't you think?
Absolutely, Glenn. Thank you so much for sharing. Much appreciated.
No problem. So best of luck to everyone for the coming month. And any questions, pop them in the chat below. We'll be checking that out. And thank you for everyone's support that's been joining us today.
Happy inviting.
Absolutely. Cheers. Bye.
Bye.